Lobat ako. 1 second. Whew. Let's go. Problema ba itong meta natin? Okay, ayan na. Wala na, ayan na. Nag-choke na kagad. Kamusta kayo dyan? Kamusta kayo dyan, guys? Hi! Hi! Kamusta kayo dyan? I know. Kamusta kayo dyan, guys? Kamusta ang... gusto ko lang magpasalamat po sa inyo. Yan, kasi hindi tayo nagpasalamat sa mga kaibigan natin dyan, mga kameta natin dyan. Strong showing na naman tayo. Puya ka siya kahapon. Ayan, dami natin mga kameta dyan sa BBC World News event. Of course, hindi ko sinasabi na nandun kayo para sa akin lang or para sa akin. Of course, I know, andun kayo para sa BBC. Andun kayo para sa dun sa mga ibang guests natin na mga galing. Si Justice Scarpio, of course, si Paeng. Ayan, napakagaling naman yung mga ibang kasama natin sa panel. Ayan, napakagaling yung mga... Ayan, si Dean from Ateneo, kaibigan natin dyan, Sir Galang. And then, of course, yung host, si Johnny. Napakagaling talaga yung host kahapon. Ito, guys. Of course, magpasalamat man tayo kay Mark Zuckerberg. Inayos na yung na-jumper nila dyan sa Facebook. Mukhang nag-jumperan sila. At mukhang kagabi, tuwang-tuwa si Paring Elon. Tuwang-tuwa si Paring Elon na... sila lang yata is ay hindi naman, in fairness, okay naman yung YouTube kahapon. Pasensya na lang doon sa mga kameta natin sa Facebook. Okay naman ang YouTube natin ngayon. Ayun na, nagpa-panic mode na yung mga kasama natin kagabi. Sabi nila magpa-friendster na tayo. Ang problema ko naman, sabi ko, si Jeff Canabay nag-comment doon. Sabi ko, ang problema ko naman, na-hack talaga yung friendster ko. Kasi nung una, akala ko na-hack tayo sa Facebook. Sabi ko, nakakatakot talaga to. Dahil nililog out ka, pagpasok mo, nilagay mo yung password mo, ayaw pa rin ipasok. Tapos, kahit nakapasok ka, biglang nagpa-problema ulit. So, for around 15 to 20 minutes, ganito yung situation until sabi ko, ganito ang solusyon dyan. Pupunta tayo sa X, Twitter, Elon Musk world. So, nag-post tayo dyan. Ano ba? Facebook is down. Ayan, dami na sumagot. Tapos, ang funny, nakakatawa kasi, napaka-corny naman. Nakakatawa kasi guys, yung lugar. Hindi, nakakatawa kasi guys, exactly yung sinabi ng mga tao sa comment section. Yun din ang feeling ko na parang puro sila mga comments. Pero nga, akala namin na-hack kami. Bakit ganun? Nahirapan kami pumasok. So, na-confirm natin at guys, just to be clear, hindi lang po down ang Messenger, hindi po lang down ang Facebook, hindi lang po down ang ano pa ba? Ang down din po dyan, WhatsApp kasi gumagana siya pero ang down din siya yung Threads. Kaso, alam ko wala nakapansin na down yung Threads kasi wala sa atin gumagamit ng Threads Dami natin mga sinasabi sa buhay pero bumalik rin pala tayo dyan sa Twitter X na yan. So dami natin hanash kay mahanash na Elon Musk na Karen Boy na yan. Kevin Boy na yan. Darren Boy na yan. Pero guys, by the way nawala rin ng isang oras ang thread. Doon sa mga minamahal natin followers na mahilig mag-follow sa atin sa thread. Ilan lang ba yung followers natin? At least, ang yabang ko sa thread sa at least verified tayo dyan. Ayan. So guys, ito thank you so much again for show of force, mga kameta natin. Kahapon, ayan tuloy. Sabi tuloy ng isang dumaan dyan, sabi niya, BTS? So dami natin mga kaibigan, nakipag-catch up tayo, nakipag-usap tayo. So thank you so much guys sa dumaan. Akala ko mga 10 tao lang siguro doon. Andun yung mga kamag-anak ng iba, andun yung kapatid ng iba, nagdala ng staff yung iba, nagdala ng videography na yung pala pagpasok natin, aba, wow, ang dating. Daming tao. Shucks, ang haba ng pila, kaya tuloy, wow. Kaya good luck na lang. Anyway, thank you so much again. And as I said, medyo na-depressed na ako kanina kasi mukhang wala pala siyang video. Which is like weird dahil yung version na ginawa nila sa Poland, nakita ko sa online, sa YouTube, napakagandang videos, napakagandang visuals. I was hoping something similar, but for some reason, mukhang wala. Kasi tumawag yung mga kaibigan natin, mga kapuso natin dyan na iba kanina may nakausap tayo. Mukhang may mga local media na nag-video lang ng konti ata nung una. Pero nawala na sila eh. So, wala siyang video, the whole event. Which is like shocking considering ang daming tao, considering sobrang excited ng tao, considering how daming tanong ng tao. Yung iba pa, nakadalawang times na may favoritism yata yan. Joke lang. No, it was very good. There was very town hall style, which is what I like. Kaya sabi ko kung mag-meta event tayo, hopefully one day, hindi ko alam, wala pang isipin pa natin one day mag-meta event tayo. Gusto ko ganon, yung engage mo talaga yung audience, back and forth question, hindi lang mga nagpapakit yung mga nasa panel. So, yun, thank you so much guys. I appreciate it. Yun lang, nakaka-bummer lang. Wala pala siyang video. At wala tayong nakita ng matinong video sa atin. Ay, yung mga video na meron tayo, purang layo. So, kung yung iba sa inyo, may video na mas maganda or something, or alam nyo may nag-video, please pakisend forward. Kasi may mga parts na gustong-gusto ko yung discussion. I mean, okay. I get it. Magandang audio. I mean, of course, as we speak, this is gonna be also a podcast. Pero iba pa rin, guys. Iba pa rin talaga pag may visuals. I mean, guys, in this world that we live in right now, kahit ikaw pinakamagaling na tao sa mundo, kung hindi ito nakikita ng ibang tao, hindi ito nakikita ng rest of the world, literally, hindi nila nakikita, good luck na lang. Hindi ma-appreciate yan. I'm 100% sure, guys, yung mga tao na akala natin the best in the world, na napakaganyan-ganyan, akala lang natin yan kasi sila lang nakikita natin na magaling dun sa mga nagpapakita sa mundo. But I'm 100% sure, guys, ang daming mga magagaling dyan na for some reason, hindi nila na-appreciate ang video, ang hindi nila na-appreciate ang communications. At I'll be honest, maraming tao dyan, daming mga award na mga ek-ek na ganyan. Pero alam natin, hindi yan dahil sa kagalingan nila or something. Magaling lang yung PR team nila. Magaling lang PR nila. Kaya ako, as much as I'm continuing to do the hard work, so kanina actually may class tayo, tapos interview tayo right hours with Monocle, etc. back to back. I always say this, do your usual everyday hard work. Kung ikaw ay academic, do the writing. If you're a journalist, do the writing. If you're a researcher, do the research. But, hindi pwede nandun lang sa mundo na yan. It has to get out. The rest of the world has to know it if it's something good. Because, ang daming basura dyan in the world. Ang daming nonsense dyan in the world. Ang daming tao na undeserving or daming tao na overrated na ganon. Na magaling lang sila, maka-PR lang sila. And please lang, dun sa mga haters natin na gusto magsalita, umayos kayo dyan. Wala akong production team. Wala akong kung ano-ano. I'm doing everything like that. Ako nagsiset up. Yung innovation styles, yung mga slicing, splicing, yung mga R&R, RRM, lahat na yan, guys. Spontaneous, inisip natin yan, na-strategize natin yan, of course. So, please lang, hindi katulad ng iba na may complete production team, may manager, may talent manager, may mga contacts, may networks, may mayaman na oligarch na kaibigan, whether sa Pilipinas, whether sa Silicon Valley, ma-PR, ganun. Hindi. Yes, I speak for myself, and if I happen to speak okay in my own behalf, hindi tawag PR dyan. PR is when you have a whole production team behind you. You have reputation management, blah, blah, blah behind you. You have like network schmoozing with the rich people and connected people. Ay, guys, honestly, yun ang hindi ko talaga kaya. Kaya sabi ko, paano? Kasi may mga nagsabi, Richard, bakit di ka na lang magpolitiko? Bakit di ka na lang mag-ganyan-ganyan? Ay, inisip ko parang, di kailangan mo makipag-shoes mga tao, yung mga ganon. Guys. Tapos sa mga mayayaman, ako pa. It's like, of all people, I'm like literally last people who's gonna... Ay nako, syempre pwede mo sabihin na yabang lang yun. Pero guys, ako may sense of dignity talaga ako. And for me, Oo naman, meron naman tayo mga times na baka naman, mga ganun. Pero I mean, gets mo, iba pa rin yung schmoozing sa politika. Ako, wala akong patience. Kung walang kwentang kausap ng taong trapo, kung shallow, kahit anong yaman nila, whatever, never mind, man. No offense, diba? I rather spend time with people na hindi galing sa malaking pamilya, hindi sobrang sikat, hindi mayaman, hindi, I don't know, konyo, whatever. Pero malalim mag-isip. Malalim ang pagmamahal sa bayan, sa komunidad. Malalim ang pag-intindi sa mga malalaking tanong sa buhay, mga existential questions. Yun po yung mga gusto natin dyan. So, I'm just saying, guys. Okay, having said all of that, tapos na yung drama natin. Ito, guys, pag-usapan natin ito. Wow! Whew. So, kahapon, guys, dun sa mga hindi naka-follow sa atin, kasi nga, down ng meta kagabi. So, nakahabol pa ako ng live kaso medyo sobrang late nung 11 na and all. Pinag-usapan natin na yung Kibuloy investigations and all of that. And speaking of Kibuloy investigations, of course, as you know, Senator Riza Hontiveros officially pushed for, eto na, isisapina na itong pastor na ito, itong person of interest, dahil itong person of interest na ito ay hindi nagpakita ng contempt, hindi nirespeto yung jurisdiction, yung mandato ng Senado. So ito na, so nag-push na itong senadora natin for itong subpoena na talaga dahil contempt po yung nakikita na dito sa no-show na naman ni Bossing, 'di ba? Sabi, ba't kasi hindi nakikinig kay ba't hindi kasi nakikinig kay Tatay Digong? Di ba sabi ng tatay, magparesto ka na lang, wala ka naman, minor crime lang naman daw, minor lang daw. Hindi ko alam sa anong mundo minor yung mga, alam naman natin yung mga cases, kailangan ko pa ilabas yung listahan. Ito, pero, mukhang isang dahilan na komportable, isang dahilan na may kumpiyansa, yung isang tao dyan na hindi magpakita sa Senado at mag-drama-drama dyan, ay dahil meron siya yung mga nag-aabogado para sa kanya na hindi naman abogado. Yung mga nagka-constitutional expert na wala namang expertise. Ito yung pinakamagaling yung senador. Ayan, si Robin Hood Padilla. Sabi ni Sir, ipagpaumanhin na po nyo, akin pong tinututulan ang naging pasya na makontempt si Pastor. Ayan. Pero in fairness, not in fairness dun sa position ni Robin Padilla. So as you may know, procedurally speaking, si Bossing, kailangan niya mag-forward ng official position paper. Bakit sa kanyang palagay hindi dapat magkakaroon ng contempt case laban dito sa pastor na to. So let's see in the coming days, siguro by next Monday siguro, or by early next week siguro magkakaroon siya ng explanation. So tingnan natin ang explanation ni Kuya. Alright? But in fairness, you know what's interesting here is that, I mean, like, of course, no surprise na gagawin naman ni parang Robin Hood yan. I mean, alam niyo naman si Robin Hood, napakatapang yan eh. Tapang-tapang talaga yan, the best yan, napakagaling yan. Kasi pag may ginawang China, walang sinasabi. Kung may ginawa yung isang, alam na, okay, ganito. Anyway, in fairness naman, what I appreciated about Robin Padilla dito, si Bossing, is that yung pagkasabi na is actually very malumanay eh. Very, very respectful. Yung nakatingin pa siya kay Ma'am Risa. Hindi ko na malabas, baka ma-content tayo. Kasi nung nilabas ko yung news ng isang araw, parang binablock yung live ko eh. Hindi ko na alam ano nangyari dyan. Pero ito guys So, kung titingnan yung video, hindi ko na nalabas dito, baka magkakaroon tayo ng copyright issue dito. Ipopost ko na yung link mga kameta. Pwede naman tignan sa YouTube mismo, di ba? Nakaganyan siya, tapos nakatingin siya kay Ma'am Risa, kay Senator Risa. And then very respectfully na sinabi niya, parang, opo, tinututulan ang naging pasya na makontempt. Yung, in fairness, hindi ito yung yabang, siga, yung mga, alam mo na, di ba? Alam mo na, magpakabait na ako, di ko na sasabihin ng mga, in fairness naman, very gentleman-like and all. And then you could see also Senator Riza Hontiveros very respectfully naman essentially disagreeing. Like, okay, you're entitled to making that intervention. So titingnan natin if hindi lang anong maging position paper ni Robin Hood Padilla, pero kung makakuha siya ng enough votes, no, dun sa relevant committees to block itong contempt case na ito para hindi ito umakyat dun sa Senate President. Now, as you know, guys, there are a lot of discussions of coups in all sense of the word, including coups in the Senate. Na there were suspicions na kahapon as we were, getting into that BBC event and all of that. Mukhang maraming nangyari dyan sa Senado. Oh, by the way, speaking of which, kasama natin si ka-R&R, si Ronald Diamas. Thank you so much, Sir Ronaldo, for dropping by the other day. Yan, sa event natin, pumila-pila pa, napaka-humble talaga, napaka-bait talaga ito si Sir Ronald. No, in fairness naman kay Sir Ronald, we have to talk about it. So, there are plans talaga na to oust, mukhang oust si Mig Zubiri at mukhang they want to put someone na, I don't know, alam mo naman natin guys sinong kandidato to replacing niya. Alright? Ayan, pag-usapan natin sa susunod na episode. So, actually, yun din isang concern kahapon dun sa Senado na yan. Itong ongoing coup attempts. Alam mo guys, nakakatakot. Ang dami palang mga coup attempts. Literally, right and left ngayon. Sabi ko nga, yun yung problema kay BBM. Dahil ang perception sa kanya ay conflict avoidant. Ang perception sa kanya, hindi siya ready to drop the Thor's hammer. Inaabuso ng ibang tao nagkakagulo-gulo na. Pero in fairness, I don't want to also blame BBM for everything. And I think this is more actually a function of Duterte's being there rather than BBM, to be honest about it. Kasi ang gulo-gulo talaga, isang dahilan dyan, dahil sa mga pinaggagawa ni Digong. And of course, after 6 years of Digong, parang normalized na yung bardagulan style of politics, to be honest. Yan ang sense ko dito na talagang bardagulan talaga. So you have a toxic combination of a perception of having a weak president, na conflict avoidant. At the same time, you have a Karen, super Karen na ex-president na nagbardagulan every day. Right? And then on top of that, guys, and this is where, don't worry, susundan pa rin natin yung flow natin sa title natin dito. And then on top of that, you have a situation whereby the opposition is still fragmented, guys. The opposition is still fragmented. Because, kung titignan nyo to, guys, promise kung titignan, okay, alam ko naman, namulat na kayo kasi alam ko marami sa inyo nagagalit sa akin at hindi kayo nag-agree sa akin nung sinasabi ko yung mga sinasabi ko after elections and last year. Pero alam ko medyo namumulat na ibang tao At napansin ko yung mga sinasabi ko nung last year or whatever year na yan, 2022 pa lang, ngayon biglang sinasabi na rin ng ibang tao who know a thing or two about politics, diba? Or have served in the highest positions of office and know a thing or two about opposition politics and all of that. Now, having said that, guys, if you look at Riza Hontiveros, she's doing everything right as an opposition leader, as in everything right. She combines, guys, fire and at the same time, and ice, if I could put it that way. Like, ang galing Like, ang tapang niya when kailangan niya maging matapang. And then, talagang hindi siya nagpapakita ng takot, hindi siya nagpapakita ng hesitancy, hindi siya nagpapakita ng, hindi siya self-doubt or nagda-drama or like, ganyan. Wala. She went after Kibuloy. And how important that is, grabe talaga. Only you see with Risa talaga. I mean, I haven't, honestly. Kasi but, the point is, kung tapang lang, of course, parang para sa akin, mas matapang pa, or at least kasing tapang sila Leila de Lima at saka si also Senator na Trillanes. Kasi kung tapang lang talaga yan, I would say, fortunately, there are at least 3 or 4 na sobrang matapang na opposition leaders or senators or former senators na kilala ko. At alam niyo naman, na-interview na natin si Senator Trillanes, na-interview na natin si Senator Leila de Lima. Hopefully, ma-interview din natin si Senator Hontiveros. Of course, na-interview ko rin si Senator Raffy Tulfo para dun sa isang show natin. So, pag-usapan tapang, I would say marami matapang dyan na hindi DDS camp. Right? Hindi DDS camp. And gladly, maraming matapang dyan na progressive. The thing with Riza though, is that hindi lang siya matapang. Kaya rin niya mag-switch into yung sobrang sobrang, stateswoman-like, malumanay, at nakikita mo yung aura niya aura niya ng SMA. Yung aura niya, nakaka, nakaka, I won't say disarm, pero kita mo yung effect niya kay Robin Padilla. Like si Robin Padilla, hindi siya hindi, very rin siya, respectful and all of that. Kasi meron siyang ganun she has this aura that it calms you down, and the way she talks, very respectful and all. So the thing that makes Riza very special as a political figure and as a leader is that she combines those two elements. Almost two elements. Kaya nga sabi ko, kung tapang lang, ang dami natin kilala na matapang na magaling na senadora. Right? Since day immemorial. Pero yung kay Risa kasi, tama po yan, may dignified aura, and then meron siya, mas malumanay. And I'll add the third element. Do not forget, Riza Hontiveros is an award, I don't know how to put it, is an award-winning journalist. Nanalo siya ng award bilang isang journalist. And I can tell you, as someone who has also been journalist, medyo na nominate lang naman here and there. When you reach a certain level of na award-winning journalist ka na, or ninominate ka na sa mga big awards and all, that means naka-develop ka ng certain instinctive communication skills. I mean, the thing I really appreciate about Riza is that not only there is depth to the person, there's also strategic communication skills to the person na hindi pilit. Hindi pilit. Like, anyone who has had chance to talk to her, like in private, hindi on the record, hindi yung with the lights, hindi yung ganyan-ganyan, you would be so impressed by how much depth there is to this person, but also how precise, maayos mag-isip, straight to the point, walang ganyan-ganyan, beating around the bush. Wala, mali, like, discipline mag-isip, discipline yung communication. Siya mismo, hindi ito yung press release na galing sa office, hindi ito yung sinasabi ng spokesman, hindi ito yung papakit lang, nagpa-interview sa pa-showbiz, pakit ng ganyan. Hindi ganoon. Like, siya mismo. And, of course, what was even more, exactly, clarity of thought, discipline in communications, instinctive sa kanya. Kasi siya mismo, journalist siya. Napakagaling na journalist ba, di ba? And matalinong tao ito, di ba? Matalinong tao ito. And of course, UP ako, pero in fairness, all respect sa Ateneo also. Nagturo naman ako doon. Now, going back to this, but there's another also layer to her, which is very, very impressive, which is what actually I think I didn't appreciate enough. Sorry na lang, ma'am, pag narinig mo to. I'm not saying na in-understand, pero yung nakausap po natin, guys, huwag na napansin, kailangan ko na mag-haircut bukas, pasensya na, alam mo, pangit yung hair natin, okay? Buti nga buti nga radio program yung kahapon, kasi, hindi nakikita yung pangit natin po. But anyway, balikan natin yan, guys. The other layer to her is also this political acumen and reflectiveness. Na first pinoint out yung minamahal natin kaibigan at isa pang host natin na isa sa mga paborito natin. Ito rin crush ng bayan. Hindi kasing level ni Ronald Alden Sliamas, pero crush ng bayan din ito. Nung panahon na colleagues pa lang kami sa atin niya, crush ng bayan na ito. Ito si Leloy, di ba? The best ni si Leloy niyan. Si Leloy pointed out na tinuturing niyang kaibigan ito si Risa. And, they have conversations daw like friends. And I say daw, like, I'm not like questioning it. I mean, like, I'm just quoting here, right? And point niya is, sobrang impressive daw si Risa and sobrang reflective siya. Hindi siya yung tipo na, alam mo naman, yung style ng mga ibang opposition dyan na pipilitin na nila yung dating narratives, dating explanation, lahat na lang disinformation. Yun ang nakakainis eh. Kung si Robin Hood Padilla, lahat na lang chacha. Kung yung iba lahat na lang Bitcoin, yung iba naman lahat na lang disinformation. Adi sara na natin yung wag na tayo mag-aral. Lahat na lang bakit kayo iniwan ng jowa mo? Disinformation. Bakit natalo ang opposition? Disinformation. Bakit nag-aaway si Digong at BBM? Disinformation. Bakit ang China nagbubuli sa disinformation? Alam mo yung mga ganyan style. Ang kagandahan kay Riza Hontiveros is nag-iisip siya, nagre-research siya, nakikinig siya, nagbabasa siya, nagko-compare siya, she's open to it. Kaya I was very impressed with what she said when Ako personally, I saw her in a forum. Si Christian Esguerra pa yung moderator. Tapos ako yung nagtanong. And ang ganda ng sagot. Yung ko si sobrang ganda ng sagot. Principled, dignified, decisive, and very sensible. Very sensible. Yung message discipline, but also yung clarity of thought. Very good point, guys. Kaya gusto ko tong live kasi ang ganda ng mga comments niya. Minsan, sorry guys, may sasabaw na. Tagal lang, nag-lecture ako. Ang dami kong ginawa today. May mga meetings pa tayo. Kanina umaga pa tayo trabaho. But anyway, I really appreciate. So, and then more than that, the other thing I don't know, I hope my intel is correct on this, is that she also has this ability to work with many people from this different side of the political spectrum in order to push for the right legislations and to push for the right actions by the Senate. So, yung isa pang maganda kay Riza Hontiveros is hindi siya self-righteous. Right? Hindi siya self-righteous. Hindi siya yung feeling kung sino. Hindi, alam na, di ba? So, it's her ability to work. And hindi rin siya pa-woke and pa-cute. Okay? Sorry hindi, yung isa dyan, parang ayoko yung mga iba dyan ng pa-woke and pa-cute. May depth May depth sa kanya. And at the same time, there's political maturity to her in ways that I don't know about other opposition leaders. Now, having said all of those positive things about Riza, I think she's ticking all the boxes and all of that. Ang big question pa rin dito is, ano bang plano ni Leni talaga ng 2028? Kasi mukhang 2025 will really be her running for local government position, which I completely understand and all. But the thing is, hindi magkakaroon talaga ng rallying effect around Riza Hontiveros as the future of the opposition. Something that I'm not the only one. You got Senator Trillanes, among others, have also emphasized this. I mean, halos lahat ng mga kausap natin, mga co-host natin dito, nakikita nila yung value ni Riza Hontiveros as the future opposition leader. Hindi magkakaroon, it's gonna be very difficult for the pink movement and the broader progressive movement in the Philippines to mobilize behind Riza Hontiveros until magkakaroon ng clarity dito sa status of sino ba talaga ang di ba? Figurehead, right? Kaya figurehead, there could be only one head. Figurehead ng opposition. Yun po talaga yung concern natin ngayon. Because if there are people who think that Leni can still run another time in 2028, and Leni's, in fairness naman to her, she's number 3, I think, dun sa some of the presidential surveys behind Rafi Tulfo and Sara Duterte. Although malayo, but still, I think as long as she's number 3 there or something like that, and unless Riza ranks higher than her in surveys and all, I don't know. So, kasi isa lang talaga pwede, guys. I mean, I'll tell this honest, it cannot be 2 figureheads. There could be only one opposition leader, one true opposition leader, and we're so blessed. We have multiple women, great opposition leaders here. I mean, this is one of the things I'm so proud about being Filipino. There's no shortage of great women leaders. But at the end of the day, we have to choose one. And there has to be rallying effect behind one candidate. Now, I can imagine someone would say, maybe you can square the circle and Leni will still run for president and then Riza for vice president. I don't know. Maybe that could be an option. I don't know. But, and siguro Riza would be okay with that. Ang thing ko lang is, then again, Riza will still be a secondary figure, right? And then, so anong bang hintayin natin, di ba? Ano bang kailangan niyang gawin, di ba? And then at the same time, like, vice president. Seriously, guys? Speaking of vice president, I mean, nung isang araw, di ba, nakausap natin yung mga ka-R&R natin, meron daw anggulo kung saan baka mag-resign na lang daw si Sara at tatakbo na lang siyang mayor ng Davao. I mean, can you imagine that? That's how, I mean, of course, there are peculiar circumstances, and I'm not gonna talk about ICC and all of that, but the office of the vice president is just like, meh, right? Let's be honest. Kung ikaw hindi type ng president, I mean it in a political sense and not in that iyak-yak sense. I mean, kung hindi ka talagang vibes ng presidente na totoong-totoo. Kasi, naturally, kung presidente ka, you're gonna have always some, with the vice president. Kasi alam mo, yung vice president is just, konting pitik na, yun na yung next president, di ba? So, ang hina ng position ng vice president, to be honest, in the Philippines. At least in the US, kung vice president ka, which is still not the best position. I mean, kaya nga si Biden daw ayaw po tumakbong vice president kay Obama noon. First of all, sa US, hindi mo kailangan tumakbo dahil isang ticket na kayo. But the other thing in the US is, the vice president is automatically the Senate president. And tiebreaker. Just in case nagkaroon ng tie, let's say 51 Republicans, 51 whatever, pwede maging tiebreaker. So may a certain degree of gravitas and significant veto power or swing vote power ang vice presidente sa Amerika, right? You feel, by the way, I'm talking about the power of the office in technical legal terms. I'm not talking, of course, the US is superpower, right? Kahit ano ka lang sa US, ang lakas mo na in international terms. But you get what I'm saying? So, ang hina ng position ng VP. So, I don't know, parang sayang lang si Risa pag magtumakbo lang siyang vice president, assuming manalo pa siya. And I won't be surprised, Robin Hood Padilla will run as vice president ni Sara in 2028. I mean, obviously, that's the game plan. That's the game plan na si Robin Hood Padilla will run as vice president of Sara Duterte, at least he's positioning for that, right? So, it's not like vice presidential position will be an easy one because you'll have Robin Hood Padilla and who knows, baka hindi si Vic Soto, si Tito Soto, naman Tito Boy Soto. Yung mga ganun types. Alam mo na, yung mga ganun, di ba? O baka mamaya Grace po pa. Grace po pang tumakbong vice president. Ay, alam ko pa, parang, di ba, potentially dapat tumakbo siyang vice president last election pero tumakbo na daw si Tito Soto, hindi na siya tumakbo kasi family friend, whatever. Okay. But you guys, you get what I'm saying here. Yun nga, there has to be really clarity here. Who is really gonna be the figurehead? And ang problema ko is the more there is a lack of clarity on that, the more hindi magko-consolidate ang pink movement. And who knows? I mean, probably the pink movement should evolve into something else. I mean, pink movement evolved from the old liberal opposition. Hopefully, the next one will be even more. Expansive, inclusive, decisive, right? Let's just hope for that. But my point is yun nga, wala pa rin tayong clear figurehead. I mean, what I'm glad to see is yung mga ibang key opposition figures na napakatapang at magaling, diba? I clearly, either they're taking themselves out of the equation para hindi sila manggugulo, or they're openly already suggesting someone else. Or in the case of Trillanes, for instance, he's openly suggesting it should be Risa na. Doon na tayo. Kasi nagpapakita naman siya ng qualities of leadership. Courage, conviction, dignity, decisiveness, everything. And yung mga nagsasabi na, ay, si Risa ay masyadong left, si Risa ay masyadong ganyan. Guys, you don't know. When Digong was trying to run in 2015, everyone said, he's just too crazy to be a president. Now, I don't agree. Well, I don't disagree about some part of what was said. But yung idea na just because I mean, we really don't know, guys. We really don't know the voter preferences by that time. I mean, if you run it well, you message it well, you package it well, you timing it well, wala nang left-right yan. Tingnan mo nga si Digong, malapit sa left, malapit sa China, malapit sa ganyan, nanalo pa rin, diba? I mean, I'm just saying, guys, I'm just saying. Yung iba naman, wala naman, nagtatap na ng Senate, alam niyo na. So, ang point is, there has to be a clarity on that. Kasi unless there's a clarity on that, alanganin, guys, Alanganin, guys. Okay. Now, let's go to the last part of our discussion today kasi ang dami natin pinag-pag-usapan. But let me put it this way, guys. Of course, we still have to talk about our president, right? As I said, it's just crazy how we always talk and we just, like walk around BBM as if it's not there. And then BBM doesn't also help his case kasi he's always abroad. I mean, come on. I know yung mga kaibigan natin and sila Ambassador Romualdez, they question the whole Magellan Jr. thing. But let's be honest, he does travel a lot. I mean, he really, really travels a lot. I'm not saying super lot more than Digong, who also traveled a lot or whatever. I'm just saying, considering how bardagulan the situation in the Philippines is, tingnan mo naman si Digong, nanggugulo parate. Tingnan mo naman considering how many problems this country has and all. And considering na wala man lang fireside speech, wala man lang Kaya nga yun ang sinabi ko, yung kahinaan ni BBM is that he neither has the spontaneous, articulate capacity that Pinoy had. I mean, God bless his soul. I mean, guys, I had many disagreements with Pinoy, right? And whether this is the Mama Sapano, ganon. But, guys, he was a good speaker. I'll tell you that. And di naman ako nagyayabang, but you guys have seen me, right? Hindi naman ako nagyayabang. I've been at the highest levels, right? When I say someone is a good speaker, probably I know what I'm talking about. I mean, my Lord. Magaling na speaker si Pinoy eh. And ang impressive kay Pinoy, talagang perfectly bilingual siya. Kaya niya mag-speech ng diretsong Tagalog na nakakatuwa, na magaling, maayos, and then kaya niya mag-speech ng English na dire-diretso. Now, what I have to double check is, I think Tita Arroyo, related kami, I think Tita Arroyo can do 3 languages. Filipino, English, and Spanish na formal na magaling. Of course, Kapampangan, Ilocano, marunong din siya. Magaling yan. Baka konting Bisaya rin. I think magaling. She speaks like 6 or 7 languages or whatever. Magaling yan. But, speaking of Aquino, I mean, he was like that. And then, tingnan mo naman si Digong. He doesn't even have to say it. May reaction ka na kagad. Yung alam mo yung gaganin niya, magigigilin niya, tapos ita-timing niya, tapos papatawa siya, tapos gagawin siya. I'm just saying, both Pinoy and Duterte had communication skills. This is in no way, guys, an endorsement of horror ni Tatay. But I cannot deny the audience impact. I cannot deny the dark charisma, whatever you want, black magic, whatever you want to call it. Hindi ako hater because I can see strength when I see strength, even if I don't agree with that strength or I think that strength is being used for wrong purposes, which clearly was the case. Pinoy was a good speaker in a very traditional sense of the word, but also very humorous and all. And then you go to BBM. Technically, wala naman problema. Malinis naman yung mga speeches niya. Alam mo na, sasabihin niya naman niya alamano, di ba? Alam mo guys, kung alamano lang, lahat ng tao may alamano moments. Kung marami kang sinasabi, may alamano moments yan. Given yan. But, in fairness naman, kung titignan mo yung mga speeches ni BBM, maayos naman eh. Maayos yung speech niya sa Australian Parliament. Maayos naman sa ano. Pero guys, aminin natin, sa panahon ngayon, ang gusto ng tao ganito, yung real talk, yung conversational. Yung makikita ng tao na you're actually talking to them. You're not talking at them. Kasi the problem with, I won't say scripted speeches, but, diba? I mean, is that, hindi, ang dating niyan, hindi conversational eh. Ang dating niyan is balagtasan. At magaling sa balagtasan si BBM. Pero ang thing is, yung balagtasan niya, pang 1960s, 70s yung tatay niya. I'm sure kung si Senyor ay nandito ngayon, mas baka maladigong magsalita yon, magpapatawa yan, even though of course, very articulate, well-educated lawyer si Senyor, kumpara naman kay tatay, di ba? But, that's what I'm saying. Yes, thank you for pointing that out. Actually, kanina may kausap din ako. We were talking about Cory Aquino. Also, God bless her soul. I know. I've heard countless people saying dismissive things about Cory na sana kung Ninoy man lang ganyan. I mean, I'm 100% sure if si Ninoy Aquino ay hindi na martyr at he for some reason, by some chance, he act out, is essentially survived and then became the next Filipino president. I'm sure Ninoy would have been a transformative leader kasi ang galing din ng tao yan. Matalino, mautak, medyo Machiavellian, and then towards later in his life, meron din conviction sa buhay, Christian faith, all of those things. Charismatic, given na lahat yan. At journalist din, diba? Usually journalists, mautak din. I mean, I'm talking about a real high quality journalist, hindi But even Cory Aquino, guys, go on YouTube and check Cory Aquino, Cory Aquino speech after a coup, yung parang tinitretan niya si Enrile, yung openly chine-challenge niya si Enrile. I mean, makita mo yung tapang side ni Corazon Aquino. And at the same time, this is the Corazon Aquino that was the para nakachinelas lang, pumunta sa market, mabait na widow, yung mga ganon. So, you could say Corazon Aquino also could make that switch. Which I think not many people have appreciated kasi ang problema is, ang naalala natin kay Corazon Aquino is yung, the whole, alam nyo na, di ba? But actually, Corazon Aquino herself showed tremendous amount of dexterity and dynamism nung leader siya ng Philippines through 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 coups, depending on how you count it. Right? Crazy. Di ba yung mga sila hunasan, yung RPG pa nila yung Malacanang. So, yun yung medyo kulang talaga, to be honest with BBM. He just doesn't have any of these things. So, it's one thing during elections, diba? As they say, you win elections with poetry, but you govern with prose. At yung prose yung kulang talaga kay BBM. Ay, magandang idea yan. Sulat natin. Kaya gusto ko itong conversation natin, kasi napapaisip ako eh. Lumalabas ito. Kasi he won on poetry. Yung mga unity, na ganyan. Hindi na pwede yung mga unity na. Hindi mo naman mapakain sa taong unity na yan eh. Tsaka anong unity? Coup attempt sa Senate, coup attempt sa coup attempt sa ganyan. Si Tatay, ganyan ka. Anong unity ang pinag-usapan dyan? Walang unity, di ba? So, having said that, katulad ng sinabi ko kahapon, we still have to give credit to BBM for at least getting one thing really right, and that's really the West Philippine Sea. I mean, he really got it right. And yung kanyang speech abroad, trying to rally support around the world, tama yun. And the way he did it was very well. And I know it because ang ganda nung effect. At least mga aliat. Alam ko marami sa hindi impress sa kanya. Natatawa kayo. Sabi niya, Alamano, Magellan Jr. But guys, he makes a very good impression on the Western allies and partners, etc. Okay. Having said that, medyo nalungkot ako konti kasi yun yung winawarn ko na ngayon, ang nangyari sobrang kabaliktaran nung nangyari nung panahon ni Digong. So nung nandun ako sa Sydney sa Australia, dun sa first Australian ASEAN inaugural summit, si Digong no-show. Si Digong, ginaganin lang ng Australia, yung mga ganyan. This time, eto si BBM, all in siya. We are frontline state, we have to stand together, we're allies, blah, blah, blah. Ang ganda ng speech, ganda. Tsaka ang ganda, the whole thing. Yung meetings niya with Albanese, okay, so it in Italiano, Albanese. Yung meetings niya with the Filipino community in Australia, everything smooth, ayos. Balik na dito, balik na naman dyan. Ganda. Yung pushing niya for code of conduct, maayos lahat. Ang nakakalungkot ngayon is, yung mga kapitbahay natin, nako po. Ang Vietnam lang talagang matino. At least yung Vietnam, nag-push siya for closer defense cooperation between ASEAN and Australia ng mga ASEAN countries. Maganda yan. Felix, yung first strategy din as far as ginamit ko exactly yan ang ginamit ko kay Napoleon doon. Sa isang Journal of Democracy article ko. But going back to this, hindi ko naman sinasabi na awa ko kay BBM. Honestly, parang naawa ko sa sarili natin bayan. Kasi ito na nga, finally of the president saying all the right things, doing all the right things. Going to the right place, right timing and all. And then gaganinin tayo ng mga kapitbahay natin. Yung kapitbahay natin dyan sa Malaysia, na ruled by guy na dating fanboy ng Aquino administration, na supposedly liberal, progressive, whatever. Kalahin mo pa naman, pupunta siya sa Australia, ibabash pa niya yung Australian US for xenophobia. Aber. Ano to, Tatay Digong? Nagko-compete siya kay Tatay Digong? Ibang klase. Naglo-lawyer siya for US. Tapos binabash na yung US about Middle East, binabash na yung about kuya, tignan mo naman yung ginagawa ng China sa Malaysia dyan sa South China Sea. Tignan mo naman yung mga sinabi ni Mahathir noon about death trap and lahat ng mga kababalagan ng ginawa ng China ng panahon ni Najib na napaka-corrupt na leader na my goodness, Wolf of Wall Street level mga kaikan nangyari ng panahon niya. Ito yung disgrace impeach yung prime minister ng yung ng prime minister ng Malaysia. I mean, my goodness, not impeached kasi he was essentially booted out. That's the one thing good about parliamentary, but ibang mahabang usapan yun kasi parliamentary system also allowed for very bad leaders to stay in power for very very long time. But having said that, going back to this, ayan, sorry, may update lang na Nick Haley's about to drop out of the race. So, officially, it will be na Trump and Biden. Anyway, thunders, Anyway, ay, hindi naman ako, pero guys naman, wala na bang iba sa US na pwede mag-compete? Pero, going back dito, guys, actually, parang naawa ko sa atin, na parang ang isolated natin talaga. Yung Malaysia nga, naglo-lawyer pa siya kay China, pinang-alat Tatay Digong. Yung Singapore naman, hindi na ako magsalita, mahirap na. Baka magtrabaho tayo sa Singapore. Joke lang. Indonesia naman, di ko masisisi kasi outgoing na si Jokowi. So tingnan natin kay Prabowo. Good luck na lang sa atin. Although si Prabowo may moments of rin yun. So tingnan natin. And then Thailand. Wala, yan. So actually, Vietnam lang yung medyo matino. But having said that, guys, di nyo ba di ba parang weird na we have more in common with Australia, yung host country from the other side. Indonesia kasi nga paalis na si Jokowi, Prabowo, new administration, kaka-election lang nila nung Valentine's Day. But anyway, going back to here, parang weird na we have more in common with countries in Europe, all the way North America, down under, I don't know, kaysa yung mga immediate ng kapitbahay natin na nagla-lawyer pa sa China. Nakakalungkot yan, guys. Nakakalungkot talaga yan. Na in a way, mas malapit sila kay Digong kaysa sa sentimento ng taong bayan. Kaysa sa, alam mo naman, yung tamang kailangan gawin. Kasi guys, tingnan na naman yung ginagawa ng China sa Pilipinas. Grabe naman yung ginagawa nila, guys. Right? Grabe naman yung ginagawa nila. Di ba, pinost natin dyan. Yan, baka magti 3 million views na yan, yung pinost natin na inedit ko. Ako mismo nag-edit yan. Kasi, nung nirelease ng mga kaibigan natin dyan sa Philippine Coast Guard, kailangan ko yata turuan. Nilagay. Sabi ko, hindi. Kailangan nalagay ng to. I-emphasize talaga yung grabe yung ginagawa ng China dito. So, first of all, ito yung, hindi, may music pala siya. Oh, wait. Baka huwag na. Alin ba dyan walang music? Ito na lang. Guys, kasi yung copywriting problem ko hindi, tanggalin ko na lang audio. Okay. Diba? Ito, yung ginawa natin ito, guys. Yung pinakita ko na, TikTok. Wag na kayo tumingin sa TikTok kasi nasa-censor ako. Diba? TikTok, di mo nakita yan. Wala kang nakita. China, TikTok, yan. Okay. Diba? Grabe, diba? Kung hindi nilagay nung tire na ganun, banggaan na yan. And then just when we thought that was really the crazy thing na ginawa ng China, ibang klase. Tingnan mo naman yung ginawa niya dito. Grabe, oh. Gina-water cannon nila ng ganyan, wasak yung window and all, grabe. Baka made in China siguro yung window natin. Hindi, pero grabe. Kaya sino yung makapili na lang yan na isa, yung sabi na, water lang yan, wala lang yan. Guys, 4 na na-injure ng Philippine Navy personnel dyan, hindi ito biro. Sino ulit yung Thunders na, yung pro-China na walang yan. Na, tubig lang yan, wala lang yan, wag kayo magdrama. Ganyan nyo yun. Tingnan natin kung ano mangyari. Umayos kayo dyan. Anyways, yung sasabihin na to. Yellow yung light, okay? Bash nyo pa ako. Ganda nyo, ang gwapo nyo. Anyway, so, medyo na-sad ako dyan. Kaya guys, nai-gets ko yung feeling ng iba na hayaan nyo na yung ASEAN na yan. Na worse than useless daw ang ASEAN, sabi ng iba. Na enabler daw sila ng China. Paano naman? Nag-lawyer na for China yung isa dyan Na may problema na nga silang directly dyan sa West Philippines and all of that. But Nakakalungkot lang talaga. Tapos, ginaganyan lang tayo ng China. Wala man lang statement ng ASEAN na directly criticizing China. Yes, may statement sila kanina, as in few hours ago, na calling on all parties, restraint. Ang may restraint naman tayo, ang China ang walang restraint. And then you're talking as if it's all side at the same moral, on the same moral plane. That's ridiculous. Masyadong pa-safe na walang kwenta yung ganyan positioning na yan. Kaya hindi ako magtataka na more and more ang sasabihin ng mga ibang Pinoy officials yan, walang kwenta yung ASEAN na yan, huwag na tayo mag-invest dyan. Doon na tayo sa mga Western allies and friends natin. Which, again, is sad kasi at the end of the day, andito tayo sa Southeast Asia. Alangan naman, isolated din tayo dito. But at the same time, they're not giving us a lot to hold on to. So it's a very tricky situation for the Philippines. And I'm just sad because I know ASEAN can do better than this. Kung sana lang magaling yung mga leaders ng mga kapitbahay natin bansa. Kasi for all of his shortcomings and all, at least BBM is getting this question right. Pero yung mga kapitbahay naman natin dyan, tama yan, apologies talaga, enabler, talagang grabe yung iba dyan. Except Vietnam. Pero then again, Vietnam is Vietnam. May sariling pag-iisip din yan. Communist country din yan. But honestly, yun yung nakakalungkot. So I'm just hoping na I'm not a fan. I'm very critical of Prabowo. But let's just see what will the unit team of Indonesia do. Kasi may unit team din sila. Si Prabowo, yung son-in-law dating dictator, na questionable tao, na may human rights violation. Tapos yung vice president niya, yung anak ni outgoing President Jokowi. So parang yun yung Sara nila. Diba? So, I don't know. Kaya I was having long conversations dun sa isang class natin. Ano ba talagang gagawin ng Pilipinas? Kasi mukhang WIPEC talaga itong ASEAN 10 na ito eh. Wala tayong makakuha dyan sa West Philippine Sea. Siyempre, ayaw naman natin burn bridges. But at the same time, we have to push for something different. Ako, siguro working with Vietnam on a fully decent government in Indonesia in the coming months, maybe that's the only way forward, yung trilateral. At yun yung sinulat natin sa Nikkei Asia article. You can check that. Please check that may article ako dyan na that's the way to work around ASEAN deficiencies. Go minilateral and trilateral. Ganun lang talaga. Kasi otherwise, malabo talaga tong ASEAN 10. Tingnan mo naman yung statement na lumabas. Tapos, this year, Laos, which is, Laos is a great country. They're nice people and all. But, masyado silang dependent sa China talaga eh. So, diba, yung China, ginawa po yung high-speed railway nila. Buti pa sila, nakakuha sila ng magandang railway sa China. Tayo kay Digong, wala tayong nakuha. Na Duterte, ito yung article na sinasabi ko na sa Nikkei Asia. ASEAN members are finding ways around block paralysis, minilateral cooperation bring together Philippines, Vietnam, and hopefully also the next Indonesian administration. Again, I'm saying this even though I'm not fan of communist regimes. I'm no fan of of Indonesia's incoming president, ganyan. Let's see. Ba, biglang nag-off tong TikTok ko Suspicious talaga tong mga to. Yeah, Vietnam has bad blood with China, but the problem is they're so economically dependent on China. A lot of their intermediate goods and even some of the stuff that they're exporting actually are all imported from China. And ang problema ng Taiwan is Vietnam is unlike Pilipinas, they have land borders with China and with Cambodia. So, ang dami nilang points of vulnerability. So, medyo yung room for maneuver nila ay medyo limitado. Unlike the Philippines, wala silang superpower allies. The last time they had an ally, Soviet Union, inabandon lang sila nung 80s. So anyway, I'll keep it there, mga kameta. I'm just saying, for a moment, let's put aside some of our political differences. Alright, I have huge issues with some of the policies of the current administration. I have huge issues with the authoritarian nostalgia, with all of this Bagong Pilipinas, blah blah nonsense. I am all for Bagong Pilipinas, by the way. I'm referring to alam mo naman, it's really the Marcos era, whatever, di ba? But, this is, guys, itong usapan, national interest na ito, guys, usapan national interest na ito. Kaya, honest, I felt for our country. I really felt our country na parang ang isolated natin in our own region. It feels really bad to be like this. But, the good news is, we have most important countries in the world coming out in support of us. And hopefully, it will be more and more than just words. It will be more and more than just words, and hopefully it will be more and more in terms of concrete assistance, concrete cooperation and all. On that note, thank you very much, guys. Maraming salamat. I hope you appreciate itong style natin ng mga open conversations ganun. So as I promised, I went through each of the items I mentioned in the headline. Dun sa So I covered them all. So although mukhang na lang ako nagkakwentong barbero, actually I'm following a train of thought. I'm sticking I'm staying faithful dun sa mga nilagay natin dyan. Dapat nilagay ulit natin si Kibuloy para too much na parati natin pinag-usapan ng Kibuloy. Tama na yan. Napag-usapan lang natin siya in the context of Riza and Robin Hood because two of them could be competitors as the next vice presidential candidate in 2028 unless Riza will be the figurehead and there'll be rallying effect around her, which I think is, given everything, the right way forward. On that note, thank you very much. Maraming salamat sa lahat ng mga dumalo dun sa ating mga talks over the past week essentially, dun sa talk natin sa Leon Gallery. God willing, we're looking to more talks and on Philippine history, etc. I mean, I'm hoping sana may funding tayo and publisher no. I'll make a whole book, no, like Philippines secret history and put all of those things I write about Rizal and all. So there's more I want to discuss. 50s, 60s, 30s, 20s, jazz age, so much to discuss. So i-share ko sa inyo kung God willing ito open public events, and also thank you so much dun sa mga dumalo sa BBC talk natin kahapon. I really appreciate it. Again, I'm not saying you came there for me, but those who came there because they saw our announcements and all, thank you so much. Pumila kayo, naghirap kayo, nag-effort kayo. I really appreciate it. Believe me, I really appreciate it. Nagpapatawa lang ako and humor and all of that, but I appreciate it. I'm always happy when I see yung mga kameta sa mga events, real life events, taking picture, showing my respect and showing my appreciation, and also seeing your appreciation. On that note, God bless and talk to you soon. Have a good evening. Salamat, guys. Good evening. Maraming salamat.